So good morning everyone. We have the great pleasure of having Dr. Manish Gupta, who is the CEO of Videoken. Videoken works on the state of the art video technologies right now, as far as I know. They have great products that Dr. Gupta was telling us just before the chat. So I'll not let myself tell all the stories and the great technology behind Videoken. I'll let him do the talking. But for our audience, can you just introduce yourself, Dr. Manish?
Okay, so I'm Manish Gupta, and I'm more of an accidental entrepreneur. I worked with large companies for a long time. First 20 years with IBM Research.
Okay.
So I was in my last job with IBM. I was leading the IBM Research Lab in India. Did a brief stint with Goldman Sachs, and then I led the Xerox Research Lab in India.
Okay.
And the work that we are doing with Videoken, it's something that in fact started as a research project at Xerox, but then we decided to buy the IP and software rights from Xerox and start off this.
So before we get to Videoken, can I just ask your 20 plus years in industry, what were the problems that you worked on? Were they very similar to what you're working on Videoken? But because it's a long stretch, there might be many problems that you might have worked on.
No, the problems I worked on were very different. In fact, my own PhD is in the area of compilers, and even more kind of specialized compilers for highly parallel machines. So that's how I got started. Writing these compilers which will automatically analyze the scientific codes and figure out how to partition them across different nodes, right, in a supercomputer.
Right.
So in particular, looking at how do you partition data, how do you automatically generate message passing code when the code is partitioned across those data. So that's what I started doing earlier. Then I started getting into when Java came along as a programming language. I learned Java and then started looking at how do you optimize codes. Because those days when we looked at high performance computing codes on Java, they were like performing about 100 times slower than Fortran and C++ codes. So we started looking into what was the reason for that performance degradation, started addressing those, then started looking at kind of broader class of those codes, then got a chance to lead a very interesting project called Luigi, where IBM decided to build the world's fastest supercomputer using a very different philosophy than how supercomputers were being built. And I was asked to lead the system software. So my team was responsible for all the whole system software, the programming, the operating systems, the message passing libraries, the compilers, essentially the entire management software for that machine. And so that machine became very successful, and in fact, US President Obama gave a National Medal of Technology and Innovation to IBM for this machine. So that was a very interesting project to work on.
And a good part of credit goes to you.
No, I wouldn't say to me. It was a team effort. I happened to kind of have a nice role in leading a very talented team that did all the software for that machine. And then after that, I moved to India, and again, I mean, that is where, in fact, I got exposed to AI and machine learning. I mean, while I'd been aware of some of the basic technologies, when I moved to India, I found most of my colleagues at IBM Research Lab in India, right, working on various aspects, various kinds of analytics, on various either customer problems in India or service delivery problems and so on. So that's how, in fact, I started picking up.
So it's very interesting that you started with something of a computer architecture background and then moved to ML and AI. I would love to get back to it, but my next question is going to be about Videoken. So can you, for just the sake of our viewers, just talk about what is Videoken and what product does it have now?
Sure. So some people even ask me why the word Videoken. So Ken means knowledge. So we are helping you basically take advantage of all this knowledge, information that is contained in videos. So it started initially as a research project, as I mentioned, with the following question that, I mean, I posed the following question to our team that, look, there are a lot of very high quality videos which are now freely available. Right on YouTube, you have billions of very high quality learning videos on covering pretty much any subject. Why are learning outcomes still so poor? Right? Why aren't educational institutions as well as corporates taking full advantage of all of these videos for their formal learning programs? Because corporates spend a lot of money on training their employees. So why aren't they taking advantage? So that's what, and can technology help bridge the gap? So that's what led to Videoken. And one of the key things that we realized as we were building the learning platform to support video-based learning is that informational videos, whenever the videos contain information, we realized that most people don't have the patience to watch these videos end to end. So inspired by textbooks, we started basically creating automatically a table of contents, equivalent of glossary, which we call the phrase cloud, and a searchable transcript for the videos, so that when you see a 1 hour video, let's say with a nice conference talk or a keynote, a webinar, you're not daunted by this prospect of having to watch this 1 hour video. You can quickly take a glance at what are the topics which are being covered in that video and directly jump to the topics which are of interest to you.
So currently, how does it work in terms of business model? Is it a B2C? Can I use the technology in terms of an app, or is it B2B? Will be I can use it through my educational institute.
Right. So our basic model as a company is to have B2B, where we work with enterprise customers. That we would say, okay, we would typically offer them a subscription-based plan that we are going to support. For instance, this learning platform for all of your employees. Now, in addition to now just the learning for employees, we have launched this new product, right, based on this video AI-based video engine and a player that makes your other kinds of informational videos more consumable. It could be videos for training your customers and partners, or your marketing videos, or your internal communication videos. So there again, it's like a charge based on a per video. It's again a subscription-based model where for a certain price we will process a certain number of videos or a certain videos of to a certain duration and provide again unlimited viewers and unlimited views for those videos. So that's our primary kind of a business model. That being said, because this is something very new, so most enterprises would not even know about this kind of a capability existing. So to generate greater awareness, we do have kind of this outreach that you might think of it as B2C, which is all free. So today, anybody can come to our website and kind of ask for a video to be processed, their favorite video, just submit that link to us and we will process it for free for the individual and show them this processed video. And likewise, I mean, we have worked with organizations like NPTEL and many of these freely available videos. We have been analyzing those videos, and we do have a system through which you can, in fact, just for personal use, if you just want to watch videos in a better consumable manner and so on, for that personal use, yes, you can do it for free.
So we also have Disha and Kishan just for our users offline. So I would ask Disha to post that link where people can go and just use the services of Videoken and take and use it for their own advantage. And also tell us if we have any questions on the forum and if the live is going fine. So back to our conversation. Like you said that the project started at Xerox. I imagine that many core team members at Videoken are from Xerox and from other institutions. Can you talk about your core team currently?
Sure.
How is it? What is the composition of that?
Yeah. So as you kind of guessed, our initial team members came from the team at Xerox. So I mean, I'll talk about people like Kuldeep, Kundan Srivastava, and so on. These are people who kind of were part of that team that put together the whole system. Of course, not everybody at Xerox wanted to kind of be in a startup in this
right.
crazy world of startups.
Yeah.
So there are people who have a strong preference for a stable corporate job, and I can understand.
Yeah.
But yes, so many of these team members joined us from Xerox.
Right.
But I realized what we had when we started out was just a research prototype.
Right.
So we needed a kind of some greater engineering effort to build it into a complete product.
Scalable product.
So for that, I reached out to a classmate of mine, Ashish Vikram, who was at that time a VP with Flipkart. He had previously been VP engineering with Yahoo, and he had actually set up the whole Rational India team.
Wow.
And he was MD of the Rational India office. So I reached out to him to kind of join me in this adventure.
Wow.
And in a way, really take care of all the engineering that needed to be done. And of course, we also needed to sell this platform. So we reached out. So Ashish reached out to yet another ex-colleague from Rational Days, Vishnu Rane, and asked him to join as the third co-founder and lead our sales activities.
Wow.
So that's how we kind of got started last year.
Right.
And then, we continue to grow the team. So we've hired more people, primarily in the engineering team.
Right.
And now we are ramping up our sales team.
Right. So that's a great segue into another thing that I wanted to bring up is two complementary things. One is the core philosophy of working. As you said, it's a startup, it's not a big company. But one is the core philosophy of how you work, and attached to it is the hiring part. So I'll just start with asking what are your hiring plans currently, and what do you look into any role that you're hiring for?
So hiring plans, as I mentioned, right now our emphasis is to we believe we have a pretty competitive product,
right.
And we also realize that this is kind of because this is a very globally unique kind of a capability.
Right.
We realize the biggest market for our product is really outside India, in particular US. I would say is the largest market.
Right.
So one of the things we are trying to figure out is how to establish our presence and start getting some traction in the US market.
Right.
So we've started initially with like a inside sales campaign that we are doing from here, and our salesperson, in fact, our salesperson right now is in the US. He's on the US West Coast, meeting various prospective clients and so on. But yes, we are trying to figure out how do we grow the sales effort both in the US as well as in India.
Right.
So our initial hiring right now, so we in fact made two offers very recently to add people to our sales teams.
Sure.
We've recently hired again a very high-profile individual, Ruchi. She has an MBA from Stanford and she was working for Apple. And she returned back to India recently, and she also decided that she's going to do a stint with some early-stage startup. So she's leading our business development activities.
Wow.
Again, primarily for the US market.
Wow.
And we're looking to add some more sales people.
Wow. And since it's a video product, there's a lot of AI going on, and we have seen the caliber of AI team that you're hosting currently. So we also had an internal discussion. You always have an internal discussion. How do successful AI data science teams work? And I don't think there's a better person than you who could answer that question. So what is the secret of a collaborative AI team who works on hard problems?
So first of all, I have to be kind of also at least more humble, because I wouldn't call us successful yet. Yes, we have a very interesting product. It's a very unique product, but I wouldn't call ourselves successful yet. Yes, I mean, what I have seen is there's a lot of talent in India. And in my view, if you are working on very interesting, challenging problems, there's no shortage of people, right? Who would get excited about that challenge and taking on that challenge and kind of really, coming up with amazing solutions.
Sure.
So in my view, a lot of it is also about the kind of opportunities, you provide to our very talented people in India.
Yeah. So you also briefly touched upon the competitive nature of the market. So, who would be the natural competitors for someone like a Videoken?
Right. So today, I mean, there are a lot of video platform companies, right, which will offer to host videos for various enterprise organizations, and there are companies which are also providing some of these players, which will give you an enhanced user experience.
Right.
So there are, and some of those companies have started to offer a few of these indexing capabilities, but those capabilities are limited to usually a transcript and a searchable transcript. Right. So we have seen again, in fact, recently we have seen kind of even Amazon, Microsoft, apart from YouTube. So YouTube does give you also a way to do the transcript. So we ourselves we see ourselves as kind of very unique, that the kind of capabilities that we are providing in terms of automatically creating that phrase cloud table of content. This is very, very unique, and it's also protected by US patents. So as a company, we have already 5 US patents issued covering our technologies. So we, in a way, are trying to transform the video watching experience with some very unique capabilities. And in fact, we are reaching out to many of these companies that you might otherwise think of as competitors as potential partners. To see if our very unique capabilities can be integrated into these video platforms, right, which will give us a kind of a quicker adoption, of these technologies. Because our goal is to reach as many people, as quickly as we can, and ultimately make this an expectation. And just like when you are given a textbook, you will be surprised and you will demand. I mean, if the textbook didn't have a table of content, you'll say, how am I supposed to read through this textbook? Just like that, when you see a video, we want this to be an end user expectation. That look, I want that table of content and that phrase cloud, for me to be able to figure out what are the topics, what is this video talking about.
Wow. So, touching upon the growth initiatives that you have, like what kind of partnership if you're okay, can you give us one example?
Sure.
About the kind of growth partnerships you're talking about?
So one of the, so in addition, so earlier when we began as a company, we were selling a learning platform, and we continue to sell that to companies. So there are companies like Bosch, which initially used it for the induction training of their campus hires last summer. And then they were happy because they were able to put together quickly, let's say, material for 12 courses using our platform in a matter of a few weeks. And then they told us that not only were they able to save money on this content because the content came for free, they said actually the quality of this content was higher than what they had used in the past. And it's not surprising in hindsight because the best stuff which is freely available on the web is usually higher quality than what somebody might kind of prepare for you, So that was one very interesting example. And then Bosch extended this deployment to all of their engineering employees, so close to 20,000 employees across India, Vietnam, and Mexico.
Wow.
Then as we started running into other customers, they pointed out, as I mentioned, that look, your technology can be used not just for the learning needs of our employees, but also for our customers and partners and marketing videos and so on, and communication videos. So then we got into this second offering, of just the AI-based video engine and player. So that we realized initially we also used to go with our learning platform to other e-learning companies, apart from enterprises, to say, look, would you like to use our platform so that you can focus on your content and your customers and just use our learning platform? And often many e-learning companies would say, look, we already have our own learning platform, because they're already delivering training on their own platform. But many of these companies do recognize that this video capability that we have is very unique. So we have now started integrating our video player, our video analysis engine and player with these e-learning companies. So one of the e-learning companies, because I haven't taken permission, so I don't know if I should name them, but this is a company, very successful company, which offers machine learning training, to industry professionals. And what they do is they have these classes which are conducted over the weekends, live classes, right? Live instructions. And all of those sessions are recorded. So now all those recorded sessions are made available to these learners through Videoken. Because as you can imagine that if you either, let's say, if you miss the session or even if you attended the session, now you have a total of 5 hours of video, right? For let's say that particular day, you only want to watch some specific portions, right, that are of interest to you, or where you had some doubts and so on. So now with this indexing that we do, right, the learners are able to very quickly find that content. So that offering is really appealing to many e-learning companies. So we are finding that our video player offered to e-learning companies, right, it's becoming a very interesting growth opportunity.
This is really interesting because me personally also, when surfing on YouTube, there are podcasts or videos that are like 2 hours, 3 hours long, and I spend a considerable time searching for a particular conversation I wanted to hear again. But this other thing that is interesting is how out of the e-learning era or like e-learning strategy came out that you can generalize to a larger video market. So apart from e-learning and obviously the great example of trading, do you see very strange or interesting examples where now still you're not serving but you might foray into?
Yeah. So see, we kind of and a lot of this interesting stuff comes from our users, visitors to our website, right? So as I mentioned, we have made the website available to any visitor. They can submit any video that they want. So we've seen very interesting examples of videos that have been submitted. Of course, those that I found fascinating are a lot of science films.
Nice.
But even so, somebody submitted the video for the wedding, the royal wedding that took place.
Wow.
And one can imagine, right? I mean, it's not an informational video, but if there's a, let's say, whatever, I don't remember how long it was, let's say 1 hour plus video, right, of the royal wedding. Yes, you may not be interested in watching all the pieces, right, of that entire wedding. You may only be interested in some specific pieces where, let's say, there's an exchange of rings or something interesting happens. So we've seen people submit that.
Wow.
People have been, so some of our corporate customers have told us that a lot of our internal, let's say, either all hands meetings where there's a leader describing. So one customer that I wouldn't name again, I mean, they said, look, we have these quarterly all hands meetings, and these are, let's say, again, for a US based company, these are the live meetings are held at a time that doesn't work for India.
Sure.
Later on, those recordings are made available. So he said, oh, we heard that this person also talked about the salary revision and so on. So those are the most interesting parts. That would appeal. So now, if those were available through Videoken, you can just watch those parts of interest. But again, we have seen people submit kind of recipe videos because there's a step-by-step procedure to follow to creating something. We have seen people submit sports videos that here's a kind of a game. Although sports videos, I mean, they do have the characteristics, people are willing to watch them for hours, but still, you may want to just watch some highlights. So I mean, so I think the future, there are many interesting possibilities with this kind of a technology.
I would really request all the viewers who are looking, or like maybe 3,000-4,000 people will go to Videoken's website and try out any video examples that you love. There are special kind of people who are into special kind of content, and it might help Dr. Gupta and his team to look out for new use cases.
And once we process those videos, please share that new URL on your social media channels. That's what I would like to request our the users and hopefully spread the word and more people start watching more of these videos as a result of this indexing.
Right. So we have already talked about what it might grow to. There are some edge cases that are really interesting. But on maybe I would be really interested to know in 3 or 5 years what would be your vision for Videoken to grow into.
Right. So one of the vision, of course, is that as I mentioned, right, we want this to be the default way in which people consume informational videos.
Sure.
So we want every person on the planet to be ultimately watching at least informational videos this way. The other part of the vision, of course, is to going back to our learning roots.
Right.
We see again digital technologies, right, having a huge potential impact that one could have on helping each and every person, right, with their learning in a very personalized manner, right, to support their dreams, their aspirations in a very personalized manner.
Sure.
So down the road, I would like it to become almost like a personal assistant to every individual and support them in their learning journey.
Wow, great. So on this note, I would like to thank you for coming here and spending your valuable time